Hello, Galaxy members. This is Brandon. Today is September 6th, 2025. It's approximately 8:40 a.m. as I make this video, Eastern Time. We have a lot to cover, so let's get going. Here's the disclaimer. Pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And of course, shameless plug on x.com/Galaxydoc Follow us. There's a lot of content there that you might find useful, and I'm pretty active there. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like and share us, and I appreciate it. All right, the big things that we need to talk about is the non-farm payrolls. In our group, we talked about how important that non-farm payroll was. And BLS, which really stands for Bureau of Lies and Statistics, put out a whopper of a number, and that is that the non-farm payrolls only rose by 22,000, which means that there is a decline in job numbers, which is a recessionary print. And so the markets really celebrated that because it's now a confirmation that the Fed might cut by 1 whole basis points. Now, a lot of you understand that cutting rates is an effective tool when done correctly, but the Fed has absolutely no clue and they are lost. The problem is that they are cutting now rates into markets at all-time high in a highly inflationary environment with a lot of money that's been printed, and the system is broken. Okay, so it's a bad recessionary warning what's going on here. Okay. To put it another simply is that the reason why I call BLS the Bureau of Lies and Statistics, not Labor and Statistics, is that they revised June's rosy number. They revised it by 27,000 jobs. Okay, so how can we rely on these data if they keep revising it? Okay, now the other thing that you need to pay attention to is that CMBS, which is commercial mortgage-backed securities, which looks at all the commercial buildings and, office spaces that are being built. The delinquency rate is now 1 full percentage point higher than during 2008 to 2009 financial crisis at its peak. Okay, so what does that say about the health of our economy? Okay, so CNBC delinquency rate is a strong barometer for economic health and stock market turns. So while the market is going higher because it is putting in a blow off top right now, folks. Don't get sucked in and don't become exit liquidity. Okay. The other thing is that when the monetary system fails, bankers take you to war. And here's President Trump signed an executive order basically changing the Department of Defense to Department of War. And why do you think that word is there? Because I've always said that United States is setting up for bankruptcy. And that's what's happening, and we're becoming very protectionist, and the world is becoming more protectionist and more belligerent towards each other. And the fact is, there's something out there that basically Trump is basically waging war against. He thinks that peace through strength is the best policy, and we'll see how that ends up. But the war drum beats on loudly. Remember, when all else fails, bankers take you to war and then blame on the war for why people died. And why the new monetary system, to the victor goes the spoils. That's been the name of the game for centuries upon centuries. And yet, as the market is hitting all-time highs and has become significantly ingrained in this euphoric market, we are at the market top, folks. The fear and greed index is also now diverging with the market. The smart money has been selling for months. You know that, right? And so it's the retail. I called it the retail tards, and it's unfortunate because the retail traders are driven by their primitive brain, not their evolved brain. Okay, and stock market is contrarian, and this is flashing warning signs for everybody. Okay, at fear and greed index. More evidence right here is the fact that US dollar is now below the 98 critical level, where we've hit 97.43. Yeah, we bounced a little. It's not going to go down in a straight line, but this is danger zone, folks. It means there's devaluation of the US dollar, and US dollar is no longer really being used as reserve world currency. But more importantly, so much US dollar has been printed. The velocity of money has basically come down to a standstill. It is also meaning that the inflation is eroding the purchasing power of the Federal Reserve note. And we'll talk about what WLFI, Trump's World Liberty Finance, really is trying to do. We'll talk about that in a bit. On anticipation of that horrific non-farm numbers, basically people started to buy bonds, and the yield has come down, but it keeps stalling out, despite the fact that they've been buying these bonds because nobody wants to buy them. Okay, nobody wants them. So what do? The Fed basically prints more money and buys back the bond that they issued. It's like basically you paying your credit card company with printed monopoly money. Okay. Fed wants 36.5 or lower. We're stuck at 40.86. This puts banks in trouble. We've been talking about that at length. We won't cover that in detail yet. Okay, so this is last week I posted this, that the central banks are beginning to accumulate silver, right? BRICS are accumulating silver now. Okay, so Saudi Central Bank took a large stake in silver. We talked about this before. And COMEX and LBMA are desperate. They are slamming on the average 96 million ounces a day on silver right now. And the Silver Slam crew, and gold too, is in serious trouble. Gold is basically, they've given up on gold, but they're still trying on silver. When silver goes, all the banks fail, folks. Okay. What comes next will be epic because Fed just promised hyperinflation and no growth. Okay, that's stagflation, folks. All right, this is end of the day from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Look at this amount of paper shorts that's going on. This is incredible and should be illegal, but that's what's happening. Okay, so silver. So I've always maintained that we need to get and stay above 42, and right on cue, as soon as we hit that, the slam crew came out. But look at the range at which the slam is occurring. It's not very much, and so basically what we're doing is making higher lows now. Higher lows. We're breaking out. We're going to break out. Once it gets above 42, folks, it's going to go through 50 really quick. Okay, and one of my projections that we're going to talk about last week, I'm going to cover it here again, why I think $75 is very, very achievable in the not too distant future. Okay, silver is the only precious metal that has not broken out. I mean, gold is hitting all-time highs, historic all-time highs, every 2.8 weeks. Okay, think about that. Okay, so this is that cup and a handle we talked about last week on silver. This is a 45-year-old cup and a handle, and we are in the process of breaking out of that. And we'll cover this more in my more official technical analysis. But pay attention to this. This is a beautiful textbook cup and a handle. You want to look at what cup and a handle, which is a powerful, powerful setup for a massive breakout, parabolic breakouts right here. And I said silver eruption is coming soon. We are above the 40.002 psychologically important level. Folks, it's coming. Okay, and they're going to come. It's here. Remember I talked to you about this poltergeist? I like it. I like it. This movie scared the shit out of me. Seriously, when I was younger. Okay, so where are we in terms of between last week? Last week, we were celebrating getting over the psychologically important level. This week, we're battling to get above the 42.026 psychologically important level. Slam crew has been trying to slam it down every time it got over there. But look, less and less effect, lower highs. Okay? I mean, look, higher lows. I'm sorry. Higher lows. Damn. Okay. Here is kind of my minimum projection level. I'm not even going by percentage. When Hunt Brothers tried to corner the market, we went from $5 all the way up into this $40 range. We think at the same type of minimum measure move as we break out of this handle. I mean, look at that bullish candle right here. We believe that $75 price target, not too distant future, probably by October, is going to be possible, or sooner, actually. All right. Get silver, folks. All right. Why do I think this phase will go higher than 75? because of the Hunt brothers, and silver is the most suppressed asset in the world. And judging by the number of paper shorts that these idiot banks are still doing, it's not going to end well. They're just pouring gasoline on the fire. Once the silver goes, it's not just going to go up by a few dollars. It's not going to even go up by $10. Okay, it'll make $20 to $30 moves on a daily basis. Okay, and remember, 625.43%. That was before the circuit breakers in 1980. However, circuit breakers trigger every 5 minutes. Every time silver goes up by 3, it'll pause. It'll do it 4 times. That's at least $12. And then either they'll close the market down and then reopen at a higher valuation, or they're just going to let it run. Either way, it's going to run. Current model only projects 85.84% rise, and as crazy as that may sound, silver is the most suppressed asset in the world. Here is gold. Okay, remember last week I was saying that gold was at 35.16. We hit 3600. Okay, we're going to go to 3700 shortly. This is from last week. And then we talked about this. This is important. I know I sound like a broken record, but XRP is important, folks. It's the rails for the new financial reality. Okay, it is basically the cross-border payment platform, but it will provide liquidity during the crisis. And if you don't remember what I talked about on the CMBS, pay attention to that. Okay, here's the thing: we're making a nice inverse head and shoulders on XRP. We're gonna move higher, folks. This is the time to buy, not when it's at $1,000. Okay. So last week, I also talked about this long-term trend line. We are above that trend line. We're dancing around there, but we can stay above there for a little while. Okay, but it always precedes these gigantic sell-offs. And we got a little Trump save here. We're coming back down. And technically, as we get near these levels, we find support. I'm not sure if this time we're going to find support there. Okay, there's some massive shit that's happening. So LEI and CEI showing a recession warning. We talked about this last week, and that when this ratio is coming at these low levels, it is a recessionary and market crash warning. Okay, and so this is where we are currently. All right, so let's look at some charts and technical analysis. So we already covered this here, so I'm not going to cover that. But I do want to point to the fact that our put to call ratio is at 0.58. There's people, this is retail. People are so bullish right now, okay? And these are kind of in that danger zone levels. We are going to rocket higher shortly. Pay attention to the put to call ratios. And then, of course, I wanted to bring this oldie but goodie. I said there is a first rate cut language at Jackson Hole. Same thing. We'll get another rate cut language at Jackson Hole. And so what's happened since then? Okay. And we get a sell-off, and then we went higher. Okay. And so we expect a little bit of a sell-off. But this time, I think it's possible that we start getting below these levels. Okay. Rate cut hopes and rumors. It's going to be sell the news. Okay, here's SPY. We think it's SPY's continuing to fail on this uptrend line. Very important level. Can it go up to this level? Sure. Okay, but we think that this is a great area for us to consider looking to see if we get a market stall, or if we get a little pop into that Bollinger Band and come down. Regardless, if you're an options trader, you need to buy more time on this, right? The range is, from our rampage method, it basically goes 20, 50. These are all active supports. Okay, these are targets also. When the shit hits the fan, these are the volatility boxes that it's going to revert to. Okay, a lot of this has been basically on the backs of basically manipulation. Trump is doing the same thing to everybody. Okay, here's gold, man. What more do I need to say about gold? I've been pounding the table on it. This is a complete and utter breakout. Okay, and gold is going higher. It's going to get right back into this phase 4 trend line, and it's going to be off to the races. I think we're going to hit. It's very, very possible. Start targeting 3,900 to 4,100 shortly, especially if silver breaks out. Okay, look at this stochastic MACD bullish hook. It's going to be a bullish cross. You don't think it's going higher? I do. And for all of those of you that are saying, oh, gold's going to correct, oh, it's coming up on a rising wedge, it's the mechanics are different now. The reality is that everyone's accumulating gold, and why aren't you? Okay, here's silver. Here's that cup and a handle, my version. And so as much as people are groaning about the fact that silver slam crew just won't leave silver alone, and for rightfully the reason, if I was them too, I'd be like basically mortgaging my kids, my wife, and the house, and my dog, trying to keep this illusion alive, because in the end, when all the fraud is found, people are going to jail. Their lives are going to be ruined. It's going to cause massive chaos. I understand that. So I'm not praying for that, but it needs a cleansing system. The banking system has gone out of whack. Okay, now we're beginning to do this. This is the silver slam cruise action right here. Okay, it's imminent that we're going to break out. Okay, don't let anyone scare you into not buying it, but you should be buying physical gold and silver. And if you want more juice, then you go into the futures market and play with the options. Okay, not financial advice, folks, unless you're part of my group. All right, so here's silver, like I said. All right, so even though the silver slam crew doesn't want it above 42, we got above the psychologically important 42. And to me, I think this is a very, very nice breakout. Hammer reversal, not reversal, but hammer candle. It means that it's going to go higher. As soon as we clear this phase 2, okay, then we're going to go into phase 3, and then we're going to probably go to phase 4, go straight up. Okay, it's coming, folks. All right, and MACD super bullish. Look at the histogram getting wider, and the MACD is telling you there's a lot of momentum behind this, even despite the silver slam crew action. SMCI, the biggest fraud that keeps on giving, folks. We are right on that 50-day moving average. I think the initial target is 30.74. But if we follow this original trend line before, they started lying about how their accounting was sound, and that, they're not going to report earnings going forward. Okay, there is fraud there, and they are connected somehow to AMD and NVDA. Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, and Lisa Su, CEO of AMD, are cousins. They also happen to be, I'm not going to bring nationality or race into it, but just think about what that means, okay? And SMCI has close ties to NVIDIA, plus, oh boy, SMCI is like top 5 customers, AI on NVIDIA. That is their growth driver. But how do you operate your business with only a portfolio of 5 customers? Something doesn't add up with NVIDIA. And Coastal Journal, you should go check them out. They're really good outfit, good research. I like reposting them. And they have, they've already done the legwork, so I don't need to repeat it. Go find out what they think about NVIDIA. All right, so and then the other thing is BKNG was one of my, it still continues to stay on my bearish list. It continues to fail at these levels, and then we had a whopper of a trade on Friday, I guess, and it found support at 20 SMA. I don't believe that's going to hold. We're going to start moving down into these volatility box, 50-day moving average, and then this trend line, 100, okay? When the selling gets going, pay attention to BKNG. I still cannot understand how it is that they can turn profits the way they do without accounting gimmickry. Okay, when this thing falls, it's gonna fall hard, but it just happens to be very low float, and it happens to be Wall Street darling at this moment, and that's what it is. But all darlings will fail. Okay, so. And the reason why I'm talking a little low is I had tooth extraction, dry socket. Go look it up, Google it. It fucking hurts. But doing this all for you guys, okay? Excuse my language. Okay, so we looked at the charts. We covered it. Okay, I gave you some nuggets. All right, so basically black swans are everywhere. Non-farm 22K is horrific. I mean, that's depression level. US dollar plummets on the news. US dollar declining is also horrific news. Gold at historic highs. Gold and silver are telling you something. Even on silver, the slam cruise effect are not working out. Remember a few months ago, I talked about Wells Fargo having to borrow $200 billion to fund operations because they're too busy slamming silver. JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, Deutsche Bank, right? UBS, Wells Fargo, B of A. I mean, you name them all. They're all involved in this, and it's illegal, folks. And then, of course, Trump declaring Department of War. War is coming, folks. We are on a war path. Okay, that's our black swan warning. Okay, so watch silver. Silver's going to hit 50 plus soon. I mean, if you don't think it's not going to happen because of the silver slam cooler, or they're not going to let it happen, watch it. Watch it. We're above psychological important level. Get silver, folks. Stagflation is coming. Gold and silver is warning you. Watch the CMBS. Not only just some, retail real estate market. CMBS is telling you the collapse in non-farm payroll numbers combined together is importantly telling you this market is about to blow. We're at all-time highs. Fed is about to cut rates into that. Nothing good's going to come out of it, okay? Which makes you wonder, are the Fed really all that necessary? And what are the Fed? I'm not going to talk about it here. You already know. Go to my Twitter and you'll find out. XRP, XDC, WLFI. This is not a scam coin, folks. I want to kind of show you really quick. This is the quantum finance. And I know the Trump family is involved, but this is the alternative dollar that's going to be competing with digital dollar, competing with the Federal Reserve Bank. I believe that wholeheartedly. And they smashed it down because people don't like Trump. And but these are excellent levels to get into. Very low risk. Got silver, got gold. You know, I sound like a broken record. SMCI is a fraud, and pay attention to the connection between NVDA and AMD. I already talked too much, right? Follow me at Galaxydoc Market and the Twitter. Like us, share us, and above all, comment on YouTube. And thank you. Get some alpha. And for those of you non-members, because our members get priority video on this, if you want to join me, you got to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com or click on the description below and join the Essentials group. That's all you need for most traders. Basically get the morning commentary, pivots, weekly watch list, and chart analyses. All right. Anyways, good luck. Be careful out there. Something big is about to drop. Bye-bye.